When I was young, I remember being a kid and loving piling on the bus for class trips to the art museum. I remember being awed by the carved monumental sculptures from other cultures. My imagination ran wild, making up stories of their origins in ancient civilizations, like Palenque, Angkor, Athens, and Persepolis. I felt like they had messages from the past, and they had secrets to share with me. And feeling that connection, I was learning how art could be a catalyst for change. And that experience inspired me to make art as a message in a bottle, to be cast out into the world in the hopes that somebody finds it and it inspires the same awe and wonder that I felt. I make art that tries to connect people with things that are larger than themselves. Can it inform the way that they think about and choose to act in the world? When I was younger, and far less concerned about getting in trouble with the law, my work included painting over alcohol and tobacco billboards in the city. The work was about surprising the viewer, and it challenged them to question the medium. I was fascinated by the power of advertising, and I wanted to stimulate debate about how it affects our connection to each other. In a more recent project, I cast large recreations of historic classical sculptures and installed them in the wilderness. The installations are far from roads or trails, but they're hidden in plain sight. And while I took away these documentary photographs, I left the sculptures to be discovered and wondered over, inspiring and inviting reflection again and again. So it's like a message in a bottle with a life of its own. I don't expect to know what happens to them after I've left. So I'm making connections with the past in a way that can inform our actions today and tomorrow. I'm thinking about universal messages, concepts and ideas that transcend where we're from, in which country we live, how or whether we worship, and what our politics are. I've been searching for commonalities that we share. What connects us all, despite what separates us? One thing I know is that values connect us, and they help bridge differences in race, age, religion, nationality, and culture. Personal and societal values have evolved to help us get along. And while different cultures may have different expectations, there's always an overlap of values. So what better message to put into bottles? Although in this case, it's more like a message in a parking lot, an unexplained message in an unexpected place. With a quick show of hands, who's seen one of these values words painted here in Napa and has wondered why it's there? Well, you may not have realized it, but you participated in the Napa Values Project. We painted more than 500 values words in over 63 parking lots throughout the city, at businesses, schools, churches, hospitals, nonprofits, and in city lots. Thanks to Arts Council Napa Valley and 140 volunteers. So it's kind of like throwing hundreds of messages in bottles that can be discovered every day for months and years to come. Connections. 140 volunteers met in parking lots to paint values words and ended up sharing stories and talking about what those values meant to them. And weeks before we mixed any paint, I held 25 group workshops with members of churches, hospital staff, employees of businesses, and students at the schools, all to connect the community to the project by adding their personal stories and values to the project. Like the woman whose mother taught her about compassion and how that became a cross-generational legacy for her after her mother died. Or the man for whom learning reminds him of how his hardworking parents have sacrificed so that he could be the first in his family to attend and graduate UC Davis. I have to admit that being a community connector is not exactly how I intended to spend my time as an artist, but it's absolutely one of the most important aspects of the project. I'm seeing this in Sacramento, where the Values Project is now unfolding. We're shooting for 1,000 installations all across the city. And engaging the community like this is absolutely instrumental to opening doors and securing participation. We have a great opportunity to connect at a fundamental level with recent immigrants by painting the project in both English and a second language. In Napa, we used English and Spanish. But Sacramento's such a diverse city that we're adding languages like Punjab and Hindi, Marshallese and Hmong, Chinese, Vietnamese, Russian, Arabic, and Tagalog. It seems that as more people are exposed to the Values Project, the desire for connection grows. Last year was Napa. This year, it's Sacramento. Now, I'm in discussions with folks from Chico, Stockton, and as far away as Monroe, Louisiana. And while I never expected to be going down this road, I'm excited to see where it leads, because I'm discovering how people can become more connected and what role my art can play in that process. Thank you.